Katt, because he told me. He said they're gonna come for you. And I was like, Katt, come on, Katt. I mean, I just, you know.
To my family, friends, supporters, and colleagues, I want to speak to you directly and from the heart.
I didn't want to get with a white woman because I was scared she might have me running down the street like Jonathan Majors.
There you go. See, come on, Katt.
Not because I didn't like white women. I think white women are as great as any other women. But I'm not gonna act like I'm not scared of them. I have a reason to be scared. You could be Kang the Conqueror.
You know, it is a shakedown. It is a targeted attack. But Shannon needs to have some accountability because he gave them something to shake down. He gave them something to target by making poor choices.
Tonight, we plunge headfirst into the firestorm sparked by Katt Williams, the silver-tongued stand-up renegade who can outshine any headline at 20 paces, after he set the internet ablaze with an unfiltered tirade aimed squarely at Shannon Sharpe's brand new $50 million SA lawsuit. What began as an off-the-cuff Instagram live has already mushroomed into a sprawling debate touching everything from brand liability and courtroom brinkmanship to media hypocrisy and the evolving influence comedians wield over public opinion. Buckle up. This recap unpacks every twist, every backlash, and every potential fallout while flooring the accelerator of real-time relevance.
I know one thing. If you're 54, you have no reason to be talking to a 19-year-old. She's 22 now. Shannon is 56. I'm so glad that audio of Monique went viral yesterday.
Williams's stream went nuclear a shade past 11 p.m. His self-declared prime insomnia theater. Viewership vaulted from a sleepy 4,000 diehards to more than 230,000 in just 17 minutes, leapfrogging simultaneous broadcasts from chart-topping pop acts and NBA post-game shows.
And he wasn't at a strip club, but his text messages have been revealed, and it's quite embarrassing for ESPN. So he used to be on First Take, and now they are putting that on ice.
2 algorithmic lightning rods powered that explosion. A retention curve flatter than a Kansas highway, and a torrent of push alerts as followers tag-teamed friends with frantic summons like "Katt's roasting Shannon, get in here now."
I do not think that element is true. I do think that he has been behaving sloppily, and so that has caught up with him.
By dawn, chopped-up clips of the live erupted across every major platform. Each edit looked juicier than the last, and bleary-eyed producers spent breakfast scrambling to explain a story they hadn't broken, but now had to frame.
So he took a screenshot of a text message, which clearly had to have been written by someone else, maybe his lawyer or his PR team. It wasn't written by him. And then he shared it onto X, so people were laughing at him, going, "You're not supposed to share. You're supposed to make it sound like it actually was written by you."
To grasp why Williams's salvo landed with subatomic force, rewind 6 weeks. An anonymous plaintiff, Jane Doe, filed a complaint alleging misconduct at a Las Vegas executive retreat that her counsel claims derailed her career. Her lawyers attached a $50 million price tag, emotional distress, lost opportunities, punitive deterrence.
So it appears the truth is that Shannon Sharpe essentially quit before he was fired. He wanted to avoid people kind of laughing at him or saying he was fired again. I don't wish him bad. I hope that he finds happiness. I don't particularly take him to be a happy or a well-rounded person.
Sharpe's counterpunch landed almost instantly. He labeled the suit a fictional hustle engineered for a payday. Early handicappers predicted a hush-hush settlement. Instead, Sharpe teased a 9-figure defamation cross-action. The Clark County docket soon drowned in paperwork, protective orders, subpoenas aimed at encrypted chat logs, witness lists that read like the VIP queue outside a Vegas club.
She charging $25K a cheek, and it ain't no cheeks. No cheeks, and she ain't got no lips. She probably whistle when she talk.
Yet even that procedural tempest felt slow motion beside Williams's freestyle detonation. The comedian opened with surgical precision. "America, if you hand a retired tight end 50 microphones, 3 networks, and enough tequila to float the Cinco de Mayo parade, don't be surprised when the circus follows him home like a hitchhiking pit bull."
I know an auntie right now with all ass 49. Got more dimples than a golf ball. You will love it over there.
Comment threads detonated, caps lock facts flying faster than thumbs could type. He doubled down. "You loved that man's hot takes till the thermostat cracked, and now you blame the weather for speaking plain." One bar spawned remix tweets, meme mashups, and 5-second TikToks that racked up tens of millions of views before lunch. Beneath the punchlines lurked bona fide legal analysis. An unexpected lane change from a performer famous for riffing on conspiracies and everyday absurdities.
You should have knew as soon as she said put a big black baby in her what time it was. She don't even want the baby to grow. She want the baby to come out your size soon as she have it.
Williams separated compensatory and punitive damages with law school clarity. Compensatory is what you lost. Punitive is the judge charging interest with an attitude. He framed $50 million as a public relations verdict delivered before the courtroom verdict, a bite-sized insight that bounced around dorms full of business law students who suddenly adopted Williams as their unorthodox study guide.
Because it's true. Sit your old down and go find somebody your age and build a family with them. As I said yesterday, men, we need stability and we need discipline.
Shockwaves hit sports marketing suites almost instantaneously. Sharpe fronts at least 4 active endorsement lines: a top-shelf cognac hyping his refined palate, a bespoke tailor dressing him for morning TV, a fitness supplement startup leveraging his Hall of Fame frame, and an audio gear brand feeding his podcast empire. Each contract hides a morality tripwire, some vague, some triggered explicitly by SA litigation. As Williams tore into the optics, try selling luxury suits while your reputation's on layaway, analysts began revising revenue forecasts.
And she says that she alleges that it was brutal, like it was very it was aggressive.
Within a day, one apparel partner quietly scrubbed Sharpe's images from its landing page. ESPN headquarters turned into a fire drill without alarms. Executives wrestled with a brutal calculus: acknowledge Williams and risk fanning the blaze, or remain silent and look complicit. The eventual choreography was a tightrope. Panelists mentioned the lawsuit in sterile abstracts, pivoted to NFL draft chatter, and never uttered cat.
Now, this woman is alleging that Shannon Sharpe her multiple times over the course of a 2-year relationship. The relationship that they had was
Social viewers cried cover-up, but in-house counsel likely wrote the script. One sloppy adjective could ricochet back as Exhibit C in a defamation tangle. Sharpe's own feeds told a story through absence. For 96 hours, he posted nothing: no gym clips, no cigar selfies, no motivational blurbs. For an influencer wired for daily engagement, digital blackout screams louder than a rant.
Because at that point, she said that they were in a they were in an actual relationship. They were in Vegas together. So when that happened, she had already kind of been, in this thing where he's verbally abusive, allegedly, but she thought that they were together.
Conspiracy threads lit up, hush money talks, countersuit loading. Sharpe's camp finally issued one lawyer-scrubbed email praising due process and dismissing Williams's roast as background noise, a phrase that merely rallied Katt's disciples. Switching to courtroom mechanics, Nevada civil cases hinge on a preponderance, 51% credibility. Defense teams weaponize that sliver, stretching discovery until plaintiffs bleed cash. Williams spotlighted the playbook. If your Louis Vuitton luggage has more court dates than your attorney, time is your co-counsel.
He tells her and threatens her allegedly to say that he will her if she ever does that again. But the part of it, she says that she was allegedly anally twice and that it was very, very brutal.
He warned jury selection could hinge on how many prospects watched his IG live. Academics nodded. Studies show pretrial media often skews celebrity cases. Memories of Depp v. Heard hover like a ghost. That trial morphed into binge content via TikTok edits, live hot takes, hero-villain supercuts. Williams invoked it directly. If your legal team can't govern TikTok, depositions won't rescue you. Truth burns, public perception calcifies long before opening statements. Echoes spread fast. Advocacy groups claimed Williams risked trivializing SA. Free speech champions countered that satire punches up, not down. Williams threaded the needle. Jokes about contradictions aren't verdicts about guilt. The cultural jury remains split. Celebrity peers chimed in. Retired receiver Chad Johnson dropped a thumbs down emoji aimed at Williams, later clarifying courts decide facts. Meanwhile, screenshots allegedly show Dave Chappelle texting Williams midstream, cheering him on to expose corporate lawfare. Authentic or not, comedians increasingly treat lawsuits like policy debates, blending satire with journalism. Behind the curtain, Sharpe's lawyers reportedly mull defamation salvos not only at Jane Doe but at outlets and maybe individuals pushing false narratives. Williams is probably safe, actual malice is Everest. His reps invoked fair comment privilege and invited deposition, swagger intact. On the business flank, Club Shay Shay downloads hold steady but advertisers flinch. 2 mid-tier sponsors, A supplement brand and a streetwear label paused mid-roll buys, citing brand safety bots that red flag SA headlines. If premium backers bail, six-figure monthly revenue evaporates while legal bills climb past $3 million. Williams, conversely, is printing hype. Ticket resellers clock a 30% surge, streams of old specials spike, and rumor has Netflix already dialing up his next hour. Controversy is his cryptocurrency. From a sociological perch, the saga spotlights social media's leveling power. One comedian with a smartphone now outruns legacy newsrooms. Audiences devour raw authenticity, democratizing the mic while bulldozing nuance. All eyes pivot to a status hearing 3 weeks out on Sharpe's motion to dismiss duplicate negligence counts. A denial kicks discovery into overdrive, leaks of texts, CCTV, and screen grabs almost guaranteed. Williams foretold that finale. Screenshots are digital cockroaches, C1 colonies behind the fridge. TikTok grabbed the line, birthing a trend lampooning our data trail. Insurance adds turbulence. Broadcasters carry liability umbrellas, but many exclude intentional misconduct or SA if underwriters balk. Sharpe's out-of-pocket exposure skyrockets, pushing towards settlement, risking a public read as guilt. Celebrity litigation is chess, not checkers. Jane Doe remains a blank silhouette, shielded yet dissected. Williams's blindfold justice riff offended advocates but resonated with #trial skeptics. Sports culture craves redemption arcs. Should Sharpe exit unscathed, he may frame himself as a cancel culture casualty, but Williams pre-torched that runway. Don't sell me a comeback speech while the dismissal ink's still wet. Sympathy's window shrinks. Universities already bake the clash into syllabi, the Katt Williams effect. Live satire in high-stakes litigation. Students will study how impromptu comedy bends legal atmospherics and reshapes PR calculus. Comedians aren't just jesters, they're stakeholders shaping perception. Court filings rattle sponsors, sponsor exits shift settlement math, settlement whispers feed fresh Williams riffs. Algorithms amplify the loop, Sharpe's silence simmers. Will he drop a lawyer-vetted video, stage a podcast flanked by counsel, or commandeer ESPN's pulpit? Any route must dodge Williams's laser. Katt, meanwhile, reloads. Insiders hint at a follow-up set built from crowdsourced DMs and docket intel. PR teams praying for fatigue face a comic who never blinks. Circle 3 dates. The dismissal hearing, the witness list deadline, and Katt's rumored Netflix drop. Each could swing the pendulum. If the judge knocks down Sharpe's dismissal bid, discovery will ignite like a box of Roman candles. Expect subpoenaed text threads, security cam angles nobody knew existed, and perhaps a surprise cameo from encrypted chat screenshots that prosecutors love to wave like smoking guns. Every leak becomes fresh tinder. Commentators slice, splice, and serve it to an audience starving for new morsels. Conversely, if dismissal sticks, Jane Doe's counsel can still appeal, keeping headlines on a slow boil just long enough for comedians and pundits angling for clicks to reload a second volley of hot takes. Either branch of that legal fork fuels the same basic algorithm: outrage in, engagement out. On the entertainment side, one well-timed Netflix special could freeze-frame Williams's roast into an evergreen artifact. Picture a glossy hour-long stand-up set that splices courtroom minutiae with razor gags, the streaming giant dropping a trailer the moment a critical court filing lands on public docket. Once immortalized in digital amber, those jokes would echo long after jurors file home and law firms tally billables. That's the paradox. Legal skirmishes may end on a judge's signature, but comedy restitches them into pop culture quilts that never quite stop circulating. Meanwhile, the interconnected dashboard of fallout, court schedules, sponsor ledgers, sentiment trackers keeps updating in real time. A damaging deposition leak could spark a domino effect. A Fortune sponsor hits pause, a sports radio talking head flips from neutral to skeptical, Twitter polls skew, and suddenly settlement math recalculates itself overnight. Sharpe's lawyers know algorithms aren't merely digital weather, they are economic barometers. Sponsor exits tighten cash flow pressures negotiation rumors loop back into social chatter that Williams can mine for punchlines. The snake eats its own viral tail. And let's not overlook the insurance trapdoor. Should underwriters decide Sharpe's umbrella policy doesn't cover SA-adjacent brawls, his personal liability leaps from theoretical risk to 6- or 7-figure immediacy. At that dollar level, even a principled defendant feels gravitational pull toward mediation. Yet cutting a check broadcasts optics W management dreads. For large swaths of the public, settlement reads like confession, nuance be damned. Sharpe's crisis strategists must weigh whether prolonging a reputational bleed is worse than swallowing a headline that screams payout. All this unfolds while Jane Doe remains masked by anonymity statutes, a blank silhouette onto which supporters and skeptics project their own narratives. Advocates champion the veil as a hedge against doxing. Critics claim it fogs transparency. Williams touched the nerve neatly with his social media sells tickets after lifting Justice's blindfold riff. In those 12 words, he distilled a grim modern truth. The public arena now thrives on half-revealed identities and fully amplified judgments, whether or not a jury ever convenes. Sports culture, with its near-religious appetite for bounce-back arcs, lurks in the wings. If Sharpe exits court unbeaten, PR handlers will be tempted to roll out the redemption tour confetti. Williams, however, preloaded a comedic IED onto that route. Don't sermonize about comeback glory when the dismissal ink is still damp. Translation: the window for fans to forgive is narrower than ever when a viral roast already owns the narrative furniture. Any Road to Redemption documentary ESPN films will play to an audience humming Katt's punchlines under its breath. Academia is already blueprinting entire modules around the skirmish. In communications departments from Stanford to Syracuse, adjuncts are slapping together lecture decks titled Meme Litigation and the Stand-Up Subpoena Effect. By the fall semester, debate teams will spar over whether Katt's Instagram monologue constitutes civic engagement or comedic opportunism. When a single comedian catalyzes syllabi across disciplines, the message is clear. Satire has escaped the club stage and now moonlights as a social science case study. Inside legal circles, motion practice continues at a fever clip. Sharpe's counsel is rumored to draft a motion in limine aimed at barring mention of Williams during trial, arguing undue prejudice. Should the judge grant it, bailiffs may spend voir dire quizzing jurors on whether they double-tapped any reels labeled Katt roasts Sharpe. If denied, courtroom transcripts will memorialize a meta-legal battle in which a comedian's jokes are dissected alongside forensic evidence. Either outcome pushes the judiciary toward uncharted territory, jurisprudence shaped not only by precedent but by punchline. While litigators trade footnotes, Williams's team finalizes tour logistics. Promoters snatch arena holds in Chicago, Atlanta, and yes, Las Vegas, calculating that a city glimmering with lawsuit echoes will move merch like nowhere else. Presale codes leak on fan pages and vanish in minutes. Scalpers post balcony seats at triple face value. If the Netflix deal closes, cameras will likely roll in a market that offers row A vantage for both gamblers and gossip columnists. The synergy is as cold-blooded as it is brilliant. Controversy drives venue demand, which drives streaming hype, which cycles back into more controversy when new bits hit YouTube highlight channels. Behind the scenes, PR agencies across Manhattan and LA are benchmarking sentiment curves hourly. 1 week into the firestorm, neutral sentiment for Sharpe hovers in the mid-40s, down from low 60s pre-suit, while Williams rides a spike that would make presidential campaign managers blush. Even if a court quashes Jane Doe's claims tomorrow, Sharpe must mount a reputational rebuild that extends beyond ESPN's studio walls. Corporate boardrooms, luxury brand endorsement suites, and barbershop debates alike. Brand rehab roadmaps often involve televised apologies, charity initiatives, and staged reconciliations. But every step now happens under the neon glow of Williams's jokes, which clip as sound bites sized perfectly for TikTok's For You feed. And yet, Katt's ascendance isn't friction-free. Advocacy organizations that support SA survivors press outlets to stop platforming what they label trauma humor. Hashtag campaigns trend, demanding streaming services limit Williams's stage, irony palpable, because earlier they championed freedom of expression when other comics faced cancellation threats. The echo chamber doubles back on itself, raising higher-order quandaries. Can satire spark vital discourse without collateral damage? Who adjudicates the line between cathartic laughter and cruel dismissal? Those questions lack tidy resolutions, guaranteeing future think pieces that prolong the story's half-life. Technologists also smell opportunity. Social media monitoring firms demo sentiment tracking dashboards that overlay court filing timestamps with meme velocity charts. Hedge fund analysts subscribe, betting that digital volatility around big legal cases can serve as proxy smoke signals for consumer brand headwinds. In this sense, a comedian's riff becomes not just culture or entertainment, but data, variables in predictive financial models. None of these ripples diminish the underlying human stakes. Jane Doe's anonymity cannot erase the emotional cost described in her affidavit. Sharpe's financial muscle cannot shield him from sleepless nights or potential career dent. And Williams himself, flush with press but perpetually controversial, wagers his livelihood on an audience forever hungry for the next outrage. What binds the trio is exposure, to scrutiny, to algorithmic volatility, to courtroom unpredictability. That degree of visibility can alchemize into clout, collapse, or something we haven't named yet. Fast forward to the 3 red-letter dates: dismissal hearing, cameras congregate outside the courthouse. If dismissal fails, reporters will quote blast discovery deadlines before the gavel's echo fades. Witness list deadline. Leaks are inevitable. One unexpected celebrity name could ricochet through tabloids, yanking new sponsors into the blast radius. Netflix drop window. Should Williams's special premiere while motions fly, the platform might need a special disclaimer screen, another precedent in the merger between streaming and ongoing litigation. As each milestone flips from upcoming to breaking, the war of narratives regroups. A single late-night tweet from Sharpe could reclaim a day's news cycle. A new Williams teaser clip could steal it right back. Algorithms love tight stair-step drama. Headline, reaction, counter-reaction. Repeat until the public burns out or the courts impose silence via gag order. Even gag orders, though, have limited reach in the decentralized whirlwind of commentary podcasts and fan-run highlight accounts. Zooming all the way out, this saga crystallizes the present media ecosystem. Porous borders between entertainment and reportage, smartphones outpacing studios, law interpreted as performance art, and public sentiment toggling in milliseconds. Katt Williams didn't merely hurl barbs at Shannon Sharpe, he redrafted the terrain on which reputations are contested. Sharpe's legacy, Jane Doe's credibility, the broader dialogue around sexual assault allegations, all now twist inside that freshly drawn geometry. As filings pile higher and punchlines cut deeper, stay tuned. We'll keep decoding every docket entry, sponsor shuffle, and blistering monologue so you can follow who's really winning the perception game, inside the courtroom and more importantly, outside it. All right, guys, follow me for more stories like this.